Howdy friends, Bernardo Spaniel from Nardio.net. I hope you're all doing great. I am doing okay myself, just need a little bit of sleep. But besides that, I'm excited. I'm excited because I get to tell you guys about a store online where I wholeheartedly recommend. And that is an Etsy store called Crabomancers Cauldron. Now, I have a hit or miss relationship with Etsy. When I first started shopping there, I had absolutely horrendous prints that I overpaid for. One of the worst ones was everything was still attached to the sprue that was fresh out of the printer. And by fresh, I mean I think he printed it, scraped it off, and shoved it in a bag. Because when it arrived, they were solid bricks of just resin that was still, I think, wet with resin that smelled horribly, burnt my fingers, and was just a mess. And it was not a fun experience because I overpaid for these things. And I've had not as bad, but similar bad experiences shopping online. So not just Etsy, but in general, it's kind of like, how do you shop? There's so many places with fake reviews. There's so many places that you feel like you can't trust. So this series is going to help you find places that I recommend honestly to you. I get no money from any of these shops. None of these places know I'm even doing a review. I'm not threatening them like, hey, I'm a creator online. If you, give me some free, no, none of that. This is me buying things with my own money and telling you the honest results of what happened. And today we're going to talk about Crabomancers Cauldron because, as you know, I'm very addicted to Blitzball. And I love the game very, very much. And a while ago, I wanted to get some Black Orcs. Problem was, the Games Workshop Black Orcs kind of looked meh to me. And I didn't find any good examples online of really well-painted Black Orc teams with the traditional sculpts. So I was like, well, the OCD person in me wanted to complete my set for the most part, but really I just wanted a really cool orc team, and I love the lore of the Black Orcs. So I'm like, I shopped around and I found a place on Etsy called Crabomancers Cauldron. Crabomancers Cauldron. And he had Black Orcs. So they weren't exactly called Black Orcs, but when you looked at them, they looked like Black Orcs. And I got myself 2 Black Orc blockers and an Orc Blitzer star player. Now these were created by an artist online who goes by Brute Fun Miniatures. Now, you could say this is kind of a Brute Fun Miniatures review, but I feel like I'm going to just do a separate one review specifically about the creator, the designer of them. But for today, we're going to focus on the person who printed them out and sent it to me. That's Crabomancers Cauldron. And, how do I say this? Just buy. They're perfect. I mean, like, when I got my prints back from Crabomancers Cauldron, like after I did my order, I waited. There was a little bit of wait because I think the guy's wife was giving birth, so there's a small delay in shipments. But when I got them, there was also a note sent to me like, oh, it's going to take a little while. That's, I believe, what happened. Anyway, so I got the minis, and I wasn't just floored. I was just completely taken aback. I was complete. I didn't even say what's worse. It was more than floored. I was shook. I was shocked. I was wow. I still look at these miniatures. I'm still like, they're so damn amazing. This guy, the blocker, I feel like Games Workshop would at least sell for their max price of $45. I could see $50. And I could see people happily paying for this and asking for more. The blockers, again, I could easily see these guys going for about 35 to 40 bucks each. They're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, if these guys were an army in Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40k that looked this imposing, I would be an orc player happily. But Games Workshop's got nothing on this at all. I think they started making some good new ones for Age of Sigmar, the orcs that look good, but it took them a while to catch up. I got these minis a little while ago. You can back when I bought these, I think he was on the entire set of the orc team, the Obsidian orc team, for about $60, $50, and I didn't really want to pay that much to someone I didn't know, and I know it came out to be half or way less than half, but I just ended up getting these 3 minis, and you know what? I was happy. 30 bucks for these minis. At first, like, oh, these are so expensive, but when I got them, totally worth the price, like completely worth the price. And they were an absolute joy to paint. And I play the black orcs more for just wanting to play with these more than I do because I like the team. And that's me being 1,000% honest. We played more black orcs because I just want to pull these guys out than like I loving their play style. I don't know. That's how good they are. And since I bought these, I bought from other sellers on Etsy. I don't think Crabomancers Cauldron had the biggest selection as I wanted. I wanted some different teams, and I went cheap. So I bought from a bunch of different other sellers. I got my other teams from them, and the quality was very hit or miss, but nothing, absolutely nothing, even Games Workshop stuff was as good as what I feel like I got from these 3 minis from Crabomancers Cauldron. Nothing at all. Nothing came close at all. So yeah, they set the standard for me for not only like for Blitz Bowl stuff, but just pretty much like miniatures for a while. And fast forward a bit, I got a whole bunch of other teams, hit or miss, and you get what you pay for. And there are a lot of sellers online who made it where they have great quality at rock bottom prices, but for some reason, obviously, it doesn't last. It's not sustainable. So you buy at your own risk. And all too often, and unfortunately often, I would get prints back from other vendors that, once again, smelled strongly of chemicals, or once again, needed lots of cleanup, or my hands would feel kind of burny after touching them for a bit. So it's like, oh man, I mean, I just paid $20 for these. I paid like $30 for these, and I got this big team, but I got to wear gloves as I handle them, and I got to base them as soon as possible so I can like touch them. Is it really worth the money? Is it really worth the risk? I really don't want to find out later on that, hey, you have hand cancer because you bought cheap minis online. Ugh. I'm not looking forward to that. Anyway, so I don't know. There wasn't anything in the store for Crabomancers Cauldron back then that I wanted. But recently, it was Christmas. Christmas just passed, and I got Jasmine's sister a set of the Blitz Bowl team. And then for her and her family. And then I also went out of my way and got extra humans, extra Skaven, extra dwarves, extra orcs. And I just gave her like a container full of teams. And when they came over to get them, she brought her daughters. And the kids were like, oh, do you have dragons we can play with? I'm like, we don't have dragons, but we have Saurians. Like, what? Like, here, dinosaur men. So I handed over my Blitz Bowl dinosaur men team to little girls, and they were ecstatic, because they thought they were so cool and they were loving them, and I was watching them roughly play with them, and I was like kind of clenching a bit, but the little girls were happy, and that's kind of it. Like I painted up the set of the Blitz Bowl stuff in nice bright colors, so not only like Jazz's sister and her husband can play and enjoy it, but the kids can look on and get interested, and hopefully later on she could play with the girls. So the fact that they were that excited about like the dinosaur team was a good thing, because you want to kind of spread your hobby and you want to spread it with people that you care about. So it made me happy. So I decided, you know what, grab my entire dinosaur team that I had, lovingly painted, and I put it in her sister's case with the rest of the Blitz Bowl teams I was giving her. Like, here, you could have it for the girls. You guys can try these teams. And it was kind of a sweet moment. Like, oh man, also a team of dinosaurs. Like, well, I get to buy some more dinosaurs. And I knew exactly what I wanted to buy. So I thought all the way back to Crabomancers Cauldron. And I thought back to the teams he had, and he had a team of dinosaurs that were gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous teams. And this is called the Saurian Sentinels. And when I looked, they were on sale for about $40. Sale's over now, but you can get the whole set of the Saurian team for $49.95. And I have to honestly say it's worth it. Like, getting the team, when these guys showed up, I paid $40. And when they arrived not too long ago, I feel like I ripped the guy off. I feel like I need to send a tip. I feel like I got over, like I shoplifted or something. Because this was a steal at $40. At $50, the price that's being sold for now, it's a steal. The quality here is, I mean, Games Workshop can't come close. Absolutely cannot come close. I mean, this stuff blows away the newest updated set of dinosaurs they're selling for the Age of Sigmar line. These are just perfection. The Blood Bowl team, is nowhere near as beautiful as these guys. None. Not detailed, not as poses, the poses aren't interesting. These miniatures from Crabomancers Cauldron, once again from Brute Fun Miniatures, is their sculptor, but the print makes the Games Workshop minis look like cheap Etsy prints in comparison. Like, this is what Games Workshop, this is the quality Games Workshop should be having for charging the same price for their dinosaur team. So for $50, you get 22 miniatures. That's about enough for, what, more than enough for 2 Blitzball teams. So you can try to stretch it out a bit. And then you get a bunch of star players that you can mix in if you want for some flair. I am shocked at the star players because they have this one dude, the Triceratops skull helm, who's just spikes. He's just spikes everywhere. He's beautiful. He's so spiky. And then there's a bigger one. I think this is the Crocs guy. And I don't know, man. Wow. Like, seriously, this guy would be sold for like 50 to 60 bucks, maybe 70 from Games Workshop. What is that place called? Forge World. I could see this being like an $80 miniature. And people would be happily paying for it. I can see this guy alone going for at least 50 bucks. The rest of their minis completely blow the GW stuff out the water. I was so happy. I was having a horrible day. And then I opened the mail and got these guys. I was like, damn, that's good. They're so gorgeous. I'm excited, intimidated to paint them. I'm excited, I don't know. I love them. I love them like crazy. And honestly, I'm thankful to the creator for spending the time and effort to send these over in this condition. Again, this person does not know that I'm a 3D, I'm a creator at all. But I think for the 22 miniatures, I probably had to clean up 3 minor supports, if that. These were shipped so perfectly, wrapped perfectly. I would say my first 2 orders from Crabomancers Cauldron were packaged perfectly, arrived in perfect condition. Perfect, 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 perfect. So I actually filmed the review a while ago. I think the day I got these things, just like opening the package and gushing over each and every one. And I was like, all right, cool. And then after I was done with the review, I got an email, like right after I was done, for an update from Etsy saying, hey, the seller has some new stuff in stock. I'm like, I can't afford this. I can't fit this, but I want to see. Now, I cannot buy any more teams. There are more teams that I want, and I will most definitely shop again on Crabomancers Cauldron, but my apartment is super tiny. I live in a 2-room studio. Maybe it's 220 maybe square feet tops, so it is tiny. My apartment's people's closets. And I survive on shelves, and the shelves, recently I had a shelf with like a bunch of my miniatures fall down in front of Jasmine and I as we're watching TV, because not only are we in a tiny apartment, we're in a tiny old apartment, and the building shakes because there's also a subway line underneath us. So, yeah, I can't get more, but I want more. And I had to fix that shelf today so I could put my minis back, but I still wanted more. So I looked I looked online. I went to Etsy and I went to Crabomancers Cauldron's page, and he has this new miniature called Magnum Orcus Orc Warlord. Once again by Brute Fun Miniatures, and it's this super duper badass looking fantasy orc warlord. And I'm in love. $11.95 with shipping about 20-ish, you could say. I ordered them and I was excited, and I got them last night, and oh my God, look at him. 20 bucks. Now, in the grand scheme of things, when you think about plastic stuff you would get, I'm raised in the 99-cent store and buying like sets of Army Men and bootleg toys for like $5. So getting into the miniature world and paying so much for miniature is like crazy. But then you think about this is made by a super talented independent artist who uses top-of-the-line technology to make something, sculpts this amazing print. Some other person's running an online shop that's, helps feed him and his family, and spent the time printing this out on, I'm sure, very high-quality machinery, and then cleaned it perfectly. perfectly, and then shipped it over to me for 20 bucks. I'm looking at this now, I'm like, Games Workshop on Forge World, this thing would be stupidly expensive. I I am floored by how beautiful this model is, how clean it is, like how hyper detailed it is. And this blows, right now, this is the very best print I've ever gotten from Etsy or anywhere else, I would say. I dare say this is the greatest print miniature I've ever had. And I got it from some guy on Etsy for about 20 bucks. So, wow. I feel like with this, I can complete my review. I will say, there was an issue with this. When it arrived, usually things are packaged in plastic. And everything came like wrapped, extra wrapped, and arrived in perfect condition. This guy was shipped in the usual box, but he used paper filling. And a bunch at the bottom, but not much on top, and the axe arrived broken. Now, I was like, oh, but let's face it, it's nothing that, it shouldn't have happened, but you can't help it, especially if you know how packages are handled. I've worked mailroom before. Like, the fact that any of these things arrive intact is a miracle and a testament to how well they're like printed out. So I wasn't too upset, but I was like, so I tried fixing it last night, and it was a pain because no glue would seemingly work for this. And I was about to start drilling it out and putting a pin in, and I took the time to message the guy on Etsy like, hey, I got the miniature, I love the quality, clean and perfect as always, but you used paper this time instead of plastic, and I believe because of that, the axe arrived broken. And I'm trying to glue it together now, but just letting you know, next time you probably don't want to use that packaging material that way. And I quickly got a response back last night apologizing, saying, oh, sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know, giving me the heads up. With this sort of material, you probably need to have it sit way longer with the glue than normal for it to set. And that's true, because I was holding it at one point for like 20 minutes last night. I was watching some Elden Ring videos, and it still wouldn't set. So it ended up last night that I set this on top of my fridge, my wallet holding up the top of the axe, set everything in place, put the glue in, and then left it like that. When I arrived this morning, it finally dried and it feels nice and firm on there. But I just want to be honest with you guys and give you like, hey, this happened. That said, the guy was apologetic, was happy for the heads up. I emailed him respectfully, and he gave me a respectful, honest response. He doesn't know that I'm a creator at all. I didn't threaten him with like, oh, I'll tell my community. No, he's like, if you can't, the response from him was, sorry about that, thanks for letting me know, and if you can't get it to like set right, we'll work on sending you a replacement. That response was perfect to me. I didn't think I would need it because I knew it would set, but that's a great response. That's not a response from some soulless company. That's not some response from someone trying to get out of it and say, oh, you must have dropped it. No, that's a response from somebody who cares about his customers and his repeated customers. I can't even think this because like the product on Etsy store, because it's so wonderful. And for all I know, this was probably dropped 5 times too many when it was shipped over here. So I don't blame him. Could it be packaged better? Yes, I believe he will do that from now on. Will this affect me giving him a review on Etsy? No, I'm gonna still give it 5-star. I think he'll do better next time with packaging, and hopefully that helps. And if not, things happen. I love it, and wow. So anyway, this is me kind of rambling here, but obviously I enjoy what I got. I'm happy with what I paid for. I would buy it again. I'm looking forward to buying more from Crabomancers Cauldron. They have more teams that I want. They have, let's see, the vampire team. If I have space, which I don't, but if I get money and I can afford to, I want to buy a second set of vampires and I want this team. They're gorgeous. They have the savage orc team that is gorgeous. Like this is the team that I'm absolutely lusting after. If I had the space, I would get it. Ooh, getting hot. But yeah, gorgeous work. Look up Crabomancers Cauldron, look up the savage orc team. I want to buy the savage orc and make custom rules for them because they look so cool. These look like how the Age of Sigmar savage orcs should look. I know there's a name for them, but it escapes me right now. But like, oh, such perfection, so gorgeous. And then it's kind of crazy knowing that as beautiful as the sculpts are, they're going to arrive that detail. They're going to arrive that clean. I mean, really, it's just like get the package, open the package, base them, paint them, play them. That's it. There's no. I'm not going to have to deal with crazy cleanup. I don't have to deal with toxic smells or worrying about touching things. No, because I'm dealing with a professional. And the prices, he recently dropped his prices. Before, I think everything used to be like around $20 more expensive, and now everything's a lot cheaper. I think the most expensive thing that I want in the shop are the Savage Orc team, but you get a lot of minis for $60, which sounds like a lot, but when you go and look at the team, it's worth $60. It's absolutely worth $60. So yeah, shop from them. I wholeheartedly recommend them, and I'm blathering, but anyway. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff, and have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.